We're joined on the telephone right now by Congressman Tom Rooney from the 16th District. Congressman, thanks very much for staying up late tonight. What was your first reaction when you heard the news?
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it, and you know, more so because I was just there last week in Islamabad and Peshawar, and to think just, I don't know the exact date the strike hit, but you know, to think just a couple days after I was there that we met a lot of the special operations forces that were conducting their operations there in that area, to think that, you know, they might be the people that were able to take this nightmare that we've lived through over the last 10 years and bring it to an end. And I was just really just beside myself. It was great. And, you know, I just want to say to all the troops and the families that have been serving for the last 10 years that justice has been served, and, you know, today's a great day.
Congressman, give us an idea again of the territory there. I mean, Afghanistan, Pakistan, I mean, it's the other side of the globe for many of us here. All we've seen, you know, in terms of pictures of that region is just sort of dusty, mountainous regions. What did you see when you were there?
Well, yeah, Afghanistan is much different than Pakistan, even though they're right next to each other. And Pakistan is mountainous, green. You know, it's actually a very beautiful country, and we flew from Islamabad to Peshawar, so apparently flew right over the area where the strike hit, or where the firefight happened. And you know, it's a you know, a very populated area, Pashtun people, and pretty modern area. Where Afghanistan is, you know, pretty desolate and tribal and no infrastructure, so they're very different, even though they're close. But the fact that he was so far away from kind of that Tora Bora, Fatah region and Waziristan region where we kind of thought he was surprising to me, that he was sort of right under our nose.
Are there things that you think that our country needs to be concerned about now that he's been killed? What's next for us?
Well, sure. I mean, certainly we can't let our guard down. It's not like, you know, the TSA at the airport's going to go away. I'm flying back to D.C. tomorrow. I can only imagine what security is going to be like. But we have to be on guard that there's no, you know, that we keep making sure that, you know, there's not some kind of retribution or something like that. And, you know, we've got the best people in place to try to make that happen. But certainly Al-Qaeda has been you know, sort of bogged down in Afghanistan. They're basically there but non-existent because of what we've been able to do. But that doesn't mean that there's sort of an understudy of leadership that's looking to come forward. But certainly because of the attacks that we've had over the last several years in that region, and some of the captures and kills that we've made, Al-Qaeda's basically been, you know, put at bay for the time being. But that doesn't mean that, you know, we can rest assured that, you know, this is over by any means. But I certainly think it puts a morale defeating element to that network, and certainly, hopefully, you know, this gives the modern Muslim world reason to stand up and say we've had enough as well. From what I gathered, they do, and maybe this will be the catalyst that makes it happen.
Representative Rooney, how did you find out about Osama bin Laden tonight? Did you get a phone call? Did you happen to be watching the news?
I just brought my kids back from the movies, and I turned on the news, and there was going to be a major announcement. We thought it was about Libya. I hadn't gotten any briefing at all or anything like that, even though I sit on the Intelligence Committee and the Armed Services Committee. I found out just like everybody else.
I was just wondering then, in a few moments we're going to be re-airing the president's speech. What did you think about what he had to say?
Well, I think that, you know, the president, you know, certainly covered the bases with regard to where we've come since 9/11 to now, and especially, you know, the sacrifice not only of those that were killed on 9/11, but those that have been in service, not only with special forces, but, you know, the men and women that have enlisted and re-enlisted time and time again in our efforts to keep ourselves safe, and I think that he hit those points. I also have always said that the president, I think, has surrounded himself with national security advisors and generals and people like Gates and Petraeus that were holdovers from the last administration. And I tip my hat to the fact that he was willing to put politics aside when it comes to national security.
And Congressman, let me ask you, you and I had the chance to speak back in January talking about that whole region and whether or not the stable forces and the governments in places like Afghanistan were going to be able to support things. Are you concerned at this point now with the potential of reprisals from some of these other terrorist groups?
Well, I'll always be concerned about the leadership in Afghanistan, so long as it is what it is, and it might not just be Karzai. We always hear that he's the best we can do. In Pakistan, it's very volatile there too. I mean, you have the military that's kind of separated from the government. The military, General Kayani seems to be the guy that's really in charge there. So I'm hopeful that he played a part in this in helping us. I'm not sure of that, because when we were in Peshawar, we were meeting with military officials, and nothing about this came up, that I was made aware of. But certainly, hopefully, that was part and parcel to it, and it doesn't come out that that we did what we did despite them. And certainly, if that's the case, the Pakistani government and military are suspicious not only of India and of Afghanistan, but also of us. It's that country is extremely volatile.
Congressman Tom Rooney joining us late this evening on the telephone. Congressman, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.